Hey everyone, Kyle once again, aka Jurassic Godzilla fan, welcome back. And like I said, since I reviewed the classic 100, well to me I say it's a classic 101 Dalmatians, now I'm on to the sequel, 102 Dalmatians, released November 22nd, year 2000. Once again starring Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil. And this time it was directed by Kevin Lima, who directed a Goofy movie, and he directed he directed Enchanted, that film with Patrick Dempsey. And then he was one of the co-directors of Tarzan, Disney's Tarzan, which I do enjoy still. And then he directed this film. Um, And so they said Glenn Close reprises her role as Cruella de Vil, and also another character, Tim McInnerny, as Alonzo. When I mentioned in the first review, Alonzo was in the first film as her assistant. You only saw him in two scenes. One, the scene when it was at her office, and then at her mansion, and that was it. So, character Alonzo has a much more bigger role in this film. Tim McInnerny as Alonzo, so he has a much larger role than the first film. So he's the only original character from the first film that came back. Him, and Glenn Close. Jeff Daniels, Joel Richardson, they don't come back. This film doesn't mention. Cruella de Vil mentions what happened in the first film, but this one doesn't mention the characters in the previous film. It doesn't mention Roger, Anita, Nanny, or Horace and Jasper. They don't mention those characters in this film. So the film takes place like 3 years after the first film, and she's in prison. She's like put on this like little thing that helps cures her obsession with the fur coats and Dalmatians, So she's been released from prison on probation, but then it happens, does this crime again, she'll lose her entire fortune, And then when she gets out, her assistant Alonzo is there waiting and gives her like another dog, which another dog calls her Fluffy. Like a shave, one of those dogs that's shaved, So, and also the character Alonzo. Even in the first film and this film, he's always nervous, and he's always like starting like, oh, that's fantastic, like in that tone of voice, because I think he was like afraid. He's like afraid of her and nervous around her, So, but she wants to change her ways, wants to get rid of everything what she did in the past. Like when she comes home, she wants to, it's like screaming, there's fur everywhere. Tells Alonzo to get rid of them. Lock him away in the secret compartment. Secret room that she has, where it leaves the fur coats, including the drawing of the puppy coats, in there. Lock them away forever. So she wants to start changing her ways. Then Sarah's this girl, Chloe, she's a probation officer. She's been given the file on Cruella de Vil, who's as her probation officer to look after her. And she's not happy about it. And also, like, she has Dalmatians of her own too. But in this one, like the male Dalmatian that she has was Dipstick, who was the little puppy in the first film. So he was given away to her, he's been given away to her, and Dipstick is now an adult, and his mate is going to have puppies. She only has 3 puppies, and the 3 puppies are called Oddball, Domino, and Little Dipper. And it mentions, like when she found out that she's a probation officer to Chloe finds out that she's looking after Cruella de Vil. Dipstick already knows who she is. Mentions you remember her? Remember what she did to you? Yeah. So then she wants to change her ways, like Karen, because there's this pet adoption place that's going out of business, and the owner Kevin, which is played by Ioan Gruffudd. I forgot how his last name is pronounced. He's the guy. He plays Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four and the sequel Rise of the Silver Surfer. He plays as Reed Richards in those two films, Mr. Fantastic, and he stars in this as the owner of this rundown pet adoption place where he's all these homeless dogs, including he has this the parrot Wattlesworth that can speak, and thinks he's a dog, which is voiced by, I know this guy, I've heard this guy before, who voices Wattlesworth, Eric Idle. I remember him from one film, and that was Casper, the movie Casper, where he was that guy, Dibbs, that was his name, who was with the villain woman Kerrigan. That guy, that guy who was in Casper with a woman. Yeah, if you've seen Casper, you know who this guy is. He's the if you've seen, you know who this guy is. He's the voice of Wattlesworth in this. So they stuttering again. They run out of money, so Cruella de Vil goes to this place and rescues this place, making it better, calling it the second chance pet place, where it was called Second Chance. And she's getting very famous again, taking care of dogs, pet grooming, being on magazines. And Chloe, she still doesn't believe that she'll never change. She'll go back to her old ways. And now, because sometime later, now the puppies are a little bigger now, a little more bigger, still puppies though. The main character is pretty much like the main character in this is Oddball, which is she's a Dalmatian that doesn't have spots, which I don't think there is no such thing as a spotless Dalmatian. I think because if they did, I think they just digitally erased her spots. So I think they did. If they did, I think they did a really good job because I couldn't really tell. I couldn't really tell that was a real Dalmatian with no spots on it, so I thought that was really good, making it a spotless Dalmatian, with no spots. Because I couldn't tell that was digitally erased out, So I do agree. So that was really good, making this Dalmatian spotless. So, but the character of Oddball, she's obsessed with spots, because they bring the puppies to her Chloe's office, and the secretary is playing like this. I could tell it's like this really fake computer boxing video game. I can tell it's like the fakest boxing computer game I've ever seen. But all the dogs are there, the puppies and the dogs and the older adults are there, and Oddball, she's looking at all of them, including the secretary, because her secretary his dress is spotted, but because she's obsessed with spots, and she looks at her reflection and she has no spots on her, and she wants spots. So she sees that this guy who's working on a printer who has black ink on his finger sees black spots on him, and sees a piece of paper has ink blots on it. So she rolls on a piece of paper to get herself black spots, and she gets pushed out the window because the printer guy opens the printer lid, and she gets pushed out the window hang onto this gutter, and it breaks open. And Chloe sees the puppies out the window and grabs them, and then Big Ben, the famous London clock, is ringing, right? Earlier, before they hear back at the prison where this guy specializes in curing different animals, like a cat getting along with a parrot, etc. They found that the animals were back to their old ways because the big loud ringing sound of Big Ben reverted back to their old ways. So Cruella, of course, Cruella Ville was in there, so when she hears Big Ben, she starts, her hair goes back into the old raggedy hair was the way before, so she goes back to her old ways now. And she says, she sees Dipstick and says, "I remember you as a puppy." And she goes outside and she starts seeing spots everywhere. The whole people, streets, walls, everything is covered in spots. And well, she originally started calling herself Ella though, but Alonzo said that and it's just, Ella's gone and Cruella's back, ha ha ha, in the wide shot where everything is in Dalmatian spots. And goes back to that secret compartment, and it goes back, it's like, oh, mommy's home, with her old fur coats, and she sees the puppy coat drawing, and says, "Ah, yes, And so she said, Dipstick, she called him. He got away from me once, so I'll seek my revenge on the next generation. So on the 3 puppies. And gets and Alonzo, of course, he doesn't like it at all because he's like, oh, that's wonderful, He's nervous or afraid of her, But he still does serve his work loyally to her still, I can tell. But then she goes to this furrier, conventional furrier, Jean-Pierre Lepelt, played by Gerard Depardieu, who played Porthos, he was Porthos in the Man in the Iron Mask, one of the 3 Musketeers, and he was also in the Ridley Scott bomb film 1492, the Christopher Columbus film, 1492, The Great Voyage, I think it was called, where he played Christopher Columbus. So he's in this film as Lepelt. So Cruella de Vil visits him and says form an alliance, and tells them together we'll work to bring the greatest thing ever, a fur coat made from a puppy made from all three of them, including Alonzo, say spots. So then on tells she goes and as Alonzo's stealing all the puppies, Cruella de Vil frames Kevin for stealing the puppies, and he gets put in jail along with the main dogs and Wellsworth, So they get put in jail. And Cruella de Vil invites Chloe to this dinner party with people and their dogs, while she tells Lepelt, Gerard Depardieu, that he says, "Are you jealous of Alonzo? Because what can he do? Steal puppies." So now there's a chance to impress me. So he gives him the opportunity to steal puppies to impress her. So she gives him tells them where the apartment where Chloe's is, so he can steal her 3 puppies. So while the dinner party, the people's dogs start going crazy, starts eating everything, while her dog Fluffy shows Chloe the hidden room, including the drawing with the spotted puppy coat. And while that Lepelt breaks into Chloe's apartment and about to steal the puppies, but it gets attacked by the mother. I forget what the mother dog name was, because I know Dipstick was the name. I forget what the female Dalmatian dog's name was. Bites him, but she gets put in the sack, and puts Domino and Little Dipper in the sack, and chases Oddball because early in the film because when they went, I forgot what it says, when they went to a puppet show with Chloe and Kevin, and her dog went to a puppet show, and Oddball sees a puppet with black spots on it, and she gets obsessed with that and gets carried away by balloons, but Kevin catches her, and later gave Oddball a gift with a Dalmatian sweater, with black spots on it. But basically she gets caught, but she like the first one, she starts barking, all the little dogs hear it, and sends it to Dipstick, who runs back home runs into the truck, but the Oddball gets put in the sack. Um, and Lapel drops a train ticket, and when Cruella de Vil temporarily she gets locks Chloe in that secret room, but then Fluffy lets her out. Um, Alonzo puts all the rest of the dogs on in this crate, at the train station, and also Chloe and Kevin they find out they're going to Paris because all the Dalmatians were shipped up to Lapel's shop in Paris. That's why, and Oddball skids because Cruella de Vil screams because she sews to the sweater like, oh, the rat, tells Alonzo to kill it, and he says, the last time I underestimated a puppy, I wound up in the pokey, And Alonzo is looking to the stage on the floor, sees him, then he goes from his hands get run over by the cart, that carries the cargo. I was like, I was just laughing when his hands got run over, because his left hand already had a cast on it, But they board the train, but Oddball's running after the train, but she falls down, and all of a sudden, Wallaceworth all of a sudden flies, because a lot of times he thinks it's a dog, but he can't fly. But then he does fly. It's like, I can fly! Dogs can fly! Picks up Oddball and gets into the freight car. Well, Kevin and Chloe, they take the next train, and so they get to Paris, and Cruella de Vil takes her car is there too. So she starts driving erratically through the traffic, and it's like the French are useless behind the wheel, and she's like goes the wrong way, and just like the like, you're going the wrong way. No, they're going the wrong way, going against traffic and the cars making the other cars crash. So then it leads because Oddball and Walter they snuck onto her car until they get to the shop. All the Dalmatians were put into the cellar, and Alonzo, as he's putting the last one away, he says, "I'm sorry," because he feels sorry what's gonna happen to the puppies, He was not a bad guy in this film. I would say he is a good guy though. He was just being taken under orders though, but Chloe and Kevin they get locked in the basement with the puppies, while Wallaceworth is in the sweat and Oddball sneaking into the shop, and he chomps out there's a hole there, so he widens it with his beak, starts sneaking all the puppies out from the floor on top. Oddball leading them. They all lead up to the roof, and Cruella de Vil sees them, and he tells Alonzo, "You lied to me. She looked at you, does she? I'll kill her myself." And then Alonzo gets into a scuttle fight with Lapelt, and Cruella de Vil looks down and is like, "You both idiots!" And he also puts his fur coat on Lapelt and wraps the sleeves around his back and tells the worker, walk, and sews the sleeves shut so he's like this, like a straitjacket, He's like, now I crush you, little man. Then he puts his foot down, but it falls to that hole that they snuck the puppies through, and he falls down to the hole even more, and Alonzo's like, who's the little man now? And one of Kevin's dogs bites his leg, and Alonzo shuts his mouth, and the workers are applying him, And then all the puppies, Oddball leads all the puppies to the bakery factory, to make the cakes and stuff like that. Cruella de Vil is still chasing after her, and she loses her balance and grabs onto the cable and starts up the control that starts the entire factory up. And I thought this is always my favorite scene what the puppies do to Cruella de Vil, where it puts her onto this conveyor belt, makes her fall back, and then drops all these egg yolks on top of her and falls into this big bucket of milk, drops all the bags of flour on her, and starts mixing the big mixer mixes her up and hits, onto this big cake batter. Alonzo freezes Kevin and Chloe, and then Oddball, she gets onto this roller thing to press the button, and she gets trips up and starts rolling the backwards and puts her face down into the batter. But then Oddball gets stuck in the batter. Picks her up and is like, without spots, it is not worth the trouble, and throws her to over here where this machine cuts the batter up into pieces. But then she starts laughing, and now to my coat. But sees that Oddball's still alive, that she was still alive, and she gets dumped into this other bucket that goes right into the oven. It bakes the cake. Of course, I know. I always say I always say, yeah, that could have killed her, but it's a Disney film, so it doesn't. So she gets taken out of the oven. Her feet and her hands break through, and she pops up. Her head pops up. She starts walking like this, very like walking like a penguin, like when she's stuck in this big huge cake. And the puppies start decorating her with different colored frosting. One of the dogs, Kevin's dogs, named Digger, starts sprinkling her, digging through the sprinkles on top of her. And then the bulldog drools on her. Waldsworth puts this, puts the bride and groom, on top of a wedding cake, And now for the topper. You may now kick the bride, and the smaller dog kicks her, pushes onto the car. She starts rolling in through the bakery restaurant, Sends her flying onto a window like this. And then she gets arrested. The police are carrying her. She's still stuck in the cake and lapelled. I'm ruined. This is the fall. I'm Miss Pelt. How do we get out of this mess? And Glenn Close, piece of cake. Of course, yeah. And so sometime later, Alonzo's driving up in Cruella de Vil's car with Fluffy in it, and gives Kevin the check of £8 million. That was the rest of Cruella de Vil's fortune, which has been donated to the animal place under the judge's orders. And they see Oddball on top of the part of the dog's mouth of the building, jumps down, and then Chloe notices she finally got her spots. She finally got her spots. And everybody's looking in excitement, and Alonzo flies and spells SPOTS and for spots, and the film ends. And the film ends with the song that was playing during the credits and towards at the start of the film with the credits, where I forgot who the name of the group was, but there's dig it dig it dog, dig it dig it dog, dig it dig it dog, I really do like that song that was playing at the beginning and at the end, dig it dig it dog, dig it dig it dog, Forget what that band was. So yeah, I do enjoy the sequel. I really did. It was released November 22nd, year 2000. It had a budget of $85 million, and total worldwide made over $183 million worldwide. But it didn't open at number 1 like the first film did. It opened up at number 3 because it opened at number 3 behind Unbreakable, that film that was directed by M. Night Shyamalan, which I do enjoy that film, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas on its second weekend. During its second weekend. So it opened at number 3 behind those two films, Unbreakable and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. But despite that, it was very successful worldwide, so it made over $183 million on a budget of $85 million, so it was pretty successful. Anything else? How much it has on IMDb? I just want to make sure, because I want to see if make sure did it get a lower rating than the first film. Always best to make sure. Yeah, it did. Sadly, this film has a 4.6 on IMDb, much lower than the first film, and doesn't deserve it. I don't get it. it was a great sequel to the first film. It held up for the first film. Yeah, yeah. Even though it didn't mention the main characters from the first film, like Jeff Daniels, Jolie Richardson, or Horace and as Roger, Anita, or Horace and Jasper. It doesn't mention those characters. Yeah, even though it should have mentioned them though, but yeah. And it has a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, much lower than the first one. Both of those could be higher. I do have a poster to this film, because when I was at a toy fair, I was looking at posters, and they had a much larger poster of this film. So yeah, so I got it's a big poster, like my Who Framed Roger Rabbit poster right there. It's a big poster though, but I don't have it hang up. I have it stored somewhere. So I do have the poster to this one. It's not the poster with the Cruella de Vil is holding an umbrella where it's raining Dalmatians. It's not that poster. It's the poster where it shows Oddball and Cruella de Vil's shadows underneath her. You know. Show the poster really quick. This poster. I got the 24 by 70 poster of this poster right there. Just want to point that out. So yeah, doesn't deserve 4.6. Doesn't deserve 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. Deserves to be higher. Glenn Close once again does a great job as Cruella de Vil. Never disappointing. Other cast members does fine. Alice Evans as Chloe, she does fine. Ioan Gruffudd, who Mr. Fantastic, he does fine. He does fine in this film. Gerard Depardieu as Lapel, he does fine. What was his name? Tim McInnerny as Alonzo. Yeah, he has much more larger role in this than the first film, and he does fine too. So you know he was a good guy the whole time though, but he was taking orders from Cruella de Vil, but finally he does at the end, you know. So he does fine. And the film was still very successful. Honestly, I would not mind if they made a third one though, but there's never gonna be one. There was no talk of it for years. So honestly, to me, I wouldn't mind seeing like 103 Dalmatians. I wouldn't mind. Personally, I wouldn't mind. But there's no been talking of a third film since this film came out. So for me, I wouldn't personally mind. Yeah. So anyway, I said I do enjoy the sequel. So these two films are really great Disney films, especially from the live adaptation from the cartoon 1961 films. Glenn Close will always be a great Cruella de Vil. Always will be in the live action Disney films. I know there isn't that much live adaptations of Disney films. Well, there's Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, and including next year Maleficent, the adaptation of Sleeping Beauty. And then and then sometime like in 2015 they're going to do an adaptation of Cinderella. But there wasn't that much though. But I still have not seen Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland with Johnny Depp. I know that film made over $1 billion worldwide, which is surprising. I didn't expect that film to do that well. And I've seen the trailer to Maleficent. I thought it just caught my eyes, because it caught my eye seeing how Angelina Jolie looked as Maleficent, you know. Oh, especially on a big budget, you know. So I always say big budgeted films like cost over like 150 or over 200, especially over 200 million. I would bet those films are gonna flop though, but we'll see though, because you never know. Because I didn't expect Alice in Wonderland to make over $1 billion. I didn't expect Oz the Great and Powerful to be a big success either. You know, I thought that film was gonna bomb, but I was wrong. It was a big success though. So anyway, so that's 101 Dalmatians, and the solid sequel, 102 Dalmatians. Cruella de Vil, like I said, always be perfect as Cruella de Vil. She does such a great job. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next review later.